What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Real Sports Updates here, back again with another video. You see the title, you see the thumbnail. Let's get into it. Should the Chargers draft Jordan Davis, defensive tackle from Georgia, in the first round? Now, I've went through many mock drafts before free agency started, and I went through pretty much the same ones after free agency started. And the most consensus pick that a lot of these mock drafts have the Chargers taking is Jordan Davis from Georgia. Now, this pick, this is who I originally wanted the Chargers to pick before free agency, before we knew what the front office, before we knew what Tom Telesco was going to do, before we knew what their plan was. As far as upgrading the team goes, this was the pick for me that it was a no-brainer. Obviously, you know, the Chargers, they were notoriously bad for the run defense last year. Jordan Davis is one of the biggest human beings I think I've ever seen. He's 6'6", 341 pounds. And I think he ran like a 4.7, I think 4.7 or 4.8 at the combine. I mean, just freaky athleticism for a man that big. So this was going to be my, my no-brainer before free agency. But now that free agency, we are in the second wave of free agency right now. The Chargers have taken care of the middle. They've done what they needed to do. Sebastian Joseph Day obviously was, I think he was the biggest name that was attainable for the Chargers to be able to lure in free agency. He's had 3 really good years with the Rams. These past 3 seasons playing alongside Aaron Donald. He's a guy, he plays the run really well. He's very physical inside. He's a big guy, but he does play with a lot of leverage as well. So, he is, he's every bit as important as Aaron Donald is in the Rams defense, because, his ability to win one-on-one matchups was a really big component to the Rams having so much success. Aaron Donald gets minimum double team almost every play. So, when you have a guy getting double team, sometimes triple team, you're going to need the other guys to be able to win their one-on-one matchups. And Sebastian Joseph Day was a guy who did a lot of that. The Chargers obviously signed Austin Johnson as well, too, from the New York Giants. He was a guy, he doesn't have the name recognition that Sebastian Joseph Day has, but he is a specialist when it comes to stopping the run. Big, really big body in there, taking up space. And he's exactly what the doctor ordered, as far as upgrades on the Chargers defense. So with the Chargers taking care of that in free agency, I don't think the draft pick of Jordan Davis makes a whole lot of sense at this point. Especially considering that the upgrades that the Chargers made, they're upgrades that the team needed, but it's free agency money. So, both of these guys are making, and they're not making, like really eye-popping money, but they are still taking up, some cap space. So it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for the Chargers to draft another defensive tackle, who's going to come in. You only have so much cap space. You typically only have 1 first-round pick. So to allocate not all, but a lot of resources, most of the resources towards defensive tackles, to me, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You don't want to spend money and, draft in the first round. But it just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense right now at this point. If these guys, Austin Johnson, Sebastian Joseph Day, if they, don't live up to expectation, or, they're not as good as advertised, there's always going to be, good defensive tackles coming out of, the draft. There's a bunch of great defensive tackles that play in the SEC. Pretty much every, at least, I would say half of the teams in the SEC have really, really good defensive tackles who are going to play on Sundays. It just depends on the exposure, what team you play for. Obviously, Bama, Georgia, the good teams in the SEC, they get a lot of press, they get a lot of headlines, but there is a plethora of good defensive linemen in the SEC. That's normally where they come from. But for me right now, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I've been back and forth, like I said, in these mock drafts, and right now, to be honest with you, you can make a case for pretty much every other position except for defensive tackle. I think at this point, defensive tackle and possibly safety. I seen one mock draft that has the Chargers taking the kid Kyle Hamilton out of Notre Dame, but to me that doesn't make a whole lot of sense either, especially with Derwin James back there, and a long-term extension imminent for Derwin James. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense on that end either. But I thought it was very interesting to see that people still have Jordan Davis going to the Chargers. Now, I mean, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but like I said, there are other areas that the Chargers need to address. I think wide receiver, I have been convinced that wide receiver in the first round wouldn't be a bad idea at all. I made the video, I think it was last week, about Jameson Williams and what difference maker he can be, especially in the Chargers offense, playing with a guy like Justin Herbert. His speed, his quickness, his shiftiness, he would allow the offense to take another leap and go another level up. So, at this point right now, man, it's very hard to tell. Brandon Staley, Tom Telesco, the GM, they haven't really given a whole lot of indication about what direction they're going to go in the draft. I just hope it's not one of Telesco's surprises. He does like to do this type of stuff every now and then. He'll draft somebody who doesn't have a first round grade, or maybe has a first round grade for a few teams, and that's somebody who the Chargers typically draft. But I think this offseason is different. Tom Telesco is all in. He's pushed all of his chips towards the middle of the table, and the fans, all of us Charger fans are, ecstatic about it. But you have to follow through. The offseason is, it's normally done in phases, right? Everybody knows they finish the season knowing what they have to do to get better for the following season. So the Chargers already knew what to do, after the Raider loss, and this thing goes in phases. And just like I said, we're in the second phase of free agency right now. Draft is coming right up, and the Chargers have to. Tom Telesco has to. He has to continue to stay locked in. He has to continue to stay dialed in to put the best team on the field. And I think at this point right now, the Chargers, their draft strategy should be, depending on who moves up, who falls or whatever. I think at this point right now, I think the Chargers need to go ahead and go with the best player available. Besides the two positions I talked about, defensive tackle and safety. Whoever that is, if it's a wide receiver, if it's a offensive lineman, a linebacker, the best player available that is not a safety and that is not a defensive tackle, that's who the Chargers need to take at this point, because the talent in the AFC West obviously is going to be a lot to compete with. I think the Chargers are the most talented team in the division, but you can never have enough talented guys, especially considering a first round talent, a first round guy who you have control over for 5 years before you extend him. You have 4 years on the rookie contract, and then you have that 5th year option, the team option for first round picks. So if it's a wide receiver, like I said, whoever it is, man, whoever the player is, whatever he brings to the table, as long as he's talented and as long as he can contribute to the team, I think it will be a good pick. I just don't want to see really any surprises. You know, I think it's going to be easy to fall into this. You know, there are a few guys who have big names, and you know, I think they're going to be a lot of guys are going to be gone probably before the Chargers are able to draft at 17. So let's just hope for no surprises. But back to my original point, Jordan Davis, as great of a player as he is, as dominant as a run stopper as he is, I don't think that he fits really right now in what the Chargers want to do. You know, like I said, obviously they've upgraded a lot. Brandon Staley, I know he's had a lot of input in the personnel decisions, but Jordan Davis just really, it really doesn't work right now unless the Chargers are, you know, doing a wait and see game, you know, with Austin Johnson or Sebastian Joseph Day or both of them, or you know, if they want, or the only way I think Jordan Davis makes sense is if Jerry Tillery is not on the team by the time the season starts. Now that kind of makes a little more sense, because then you can draft that rookie, and you know he doesn't have to come in and start on day one. You know, he can come in, stop the run. He can come in and, you know, special goal line situations. He can come in, you know, on the fourth downs, the 4th and 1s, the 3rd and 1s, the short yardage situations. You know, so you're not going to require him to be out there and play, you know, most of the snaps. So, you know, this is going to be a very, very interesting draft. I think, you know, I'm at a point right now where I'm just like, man, I can't wait. I can't wait to see who the Chargers pick. But, you know, like I said, it does make sense if Jerry Tillery is not going to be on the team. Now, if we will know a lot about the roster construction, we will know a lot about the final 53 based off of this draft. I think that's going to tell us a lot about who might get cut. You know, there might be some surprise cuts. That's still a little while away, obviously, when training camp starts, you get into the preseason and whatnot. But I think this draft, and then to finish out free agency as well, too, I think it's going to tell us a lot about who's going to make the team, who's going to make the roster. But, you know, just for right now, man, I'm excited. I'm really excited about this draft. Can't wait for it. But, yeah, you know, let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know, should the Chargers draft Jordan Davis? You know, should they go ahead and use that first round pick on that mountain of a man? Let me know. Let me know. Hit the comments. But that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. Don't forget to give me a like. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And that's all I got. Until next time, I'll see you later.